Well, speaking of Puerto Rico, is that how I want to start it? Sure.
Go for it.
I feel like we never started on each other.
No, we didn't.
Like, I think this is legitimately the first time I've ever had a conversation with you.
Were you there? Like, this is bad that I don't know. Were you there the one time that we did Mario Kart and I was with Elena at Farnsworth?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
I was like,
apartment.
I'm pretty sure that's you. But if not, whoever that was, I feel bad watching.
But like, at the same time, we didn't really talk when you came over.
No.
Which is like chill.
I was only over. I like literally played like one round of Mario Kart and then I was out.
That was, I think, the sole interaction we've ever had outside of today. But that's good because I think our conversation will be authentic today.
Exactly.
We'll be getting to know each other.
Lots to unpack.
Yes, a lot to unpack. So first of all, Katie Quinn, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Super excited for this one. So because we served in the same mission, even though we never really like interacted, we have a lot of like mutual friends.
Yeah.
And Elena Farnsworth for forever has been like, you have to get Katie Quinn on the podcast.
I love Elena Farnsworth. I love her.
She is awesome. She's the coolest person ever. And I was like, I would love to have her on the podcast. I think she's in like somewhere not the United States right now. But like when she gets back 100%, I'll try and make it happen. And here we are.
Yeah, it's happening.
So I wanted to start today exactly where you wanted to start based on your bio.
Okay. I
found this interesting. You put at the end that today you'd like to talk about how it is a lovely day outside.
It's a lovely day outside. I knew it. I actually didn't know.
It's a beautiful day today.
The weather app knew it. And I love nice days.
Yes.
It's really...
I'm a sucker for them.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, tell me you don't want to tell every single person in the world that it's a nice day every time it's a nice day outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice weather we're having today.
It's a nice weather we're having today.
That indeed. But in all seriousness, I'd like to start a little bit just kind of like getting to know you and more like specifically like your creative journey into like videography. So where did that start? Like when did you start the videography journey?
It started when I was a child and I listened to songs and I would imagine the music videos for them in my head.
Whoa.
Like I actually don't, that's not really like when I actually realized after I did video, like after I started doing more video stuff that I was like, I've always really imagined, like I will think of videos for things in my head. Like I just have always really been drawn to video. But it really, like, I never had, like, an audio-visual club or, like, any sort of, like, I didn't have any opportunities with videos, like, growing up. Like, that wasn't something offered anywhere. I didn't really even understand that it was, like, a thing that people did. But I really liked, in high school, I started making just travel videos. But I would just get a lot of, like, hype for the travel videos when I like posted them, or like just not even like travel videos, even just like little. I think the first video I ever took with a camera was like the day I got my license, and me and my best friend, we skipped school. Shout out to Ellie Madsen for skipping school with me, and we went to the park and she did a cartwheel, and I don't know why I included she did a cartwheel. She did though. There's a good video of her slipping. She like fell on her face. It was great. It wasn't great for her. But I like. That was my first video I did with like an actual camera. I was like a sophomore in high school. And after that, I just kind of kept doing that. And then my freshman year, a bunch of things just kind of like fell into place for me to get a little more invested in it. And then I just ran with it.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What do you feel like there's like a specific memory or like example of like kind of glimpses into like that creative energy leading up to sophomore year, kind of having that opportunity to actually express yourself in videography?
I was always pretty like artistic growing up. Like I definitely that's kind of always been my skill set, as much as I would love to be a woman in STEM. I just like am not. I just have always been much more on that side.
Yeah.
And so I'd like done like painting. I'd done like What else is, I mean, like I play the piano, I play the guitar, I do like, there's a lot of different like things that I had done. But it wasn't until, I think the things that really like are why I really ran with video is because I'm like a really practical person, and I like that video. It feels very worthwhile to me because it's recording something. It's like it's like capturing those memories. I really like the function of video. I think that it has a lot of value, and it felt like something that had value outside of just being like artistic, which really, me being a very practical person, it just like that drew me to it. And then on top of that, I really like music. I am a big, like, I love music. And so getting to like the moment where I got, like, I always really liked music a lot. Okay. And the moment where I got to like use music in art in that way, like I play piano, I play guitar, like I said, but I like to create, and getting to like have that soundtrack, like use songs that I like and be able to imagine songs I like as a soundtrack for different things like that. I feel like that's really where, because I had that before, but then when I got to apply it to video, it's like, yeah, that was like it for me. It was over.
That's dope. So what did that look like sophomore year, like your beginning of video? Like what kind of stuff were you putting together or filming?
Like, so in high school it was all just like videos with friends, but I would like think about them all the time. Like I'd get so stoked. Like if I was going on a trip, like the thing I was excited for was getting to make a video for the trip. Yeah. Like I would like pick out, I had like a playlist for the songs I wanted in the video. I would like pick it out. And then I also kind of did some like, I did some vlogs, and it wasn't like I was like trying to start a YouTube channel or anything. Right. I just loved being able to record. Like it was just like fun for me to make vlogs. And so I do that, which is funny because even now I do feel like my wedding videos have a little more of like almost a vlog feel than a lot of wedding videos I see, which I feel like makes it sound like they're not great, but they kind of have more of like, I really like to document things and document the experience in that way. I don't use a lot of slow motion. I'm very much like record, like almost kind of documentary style, and I feel like a lot of that comes from how much fun I had. Like I love capturing fun moments. Like I eat that up. Like I love capturing fun moments and getting to create something that feels like a vlog. Like I feel like that's very much my roots are from in high school, like getting to make vlogs with my friends, and still whenever I watch them, like I just eat it up. I love it.
No, I think that's super cool. And that's something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, actually, this is kind of like a tangent, but I'm currently working as like the EFY social media person. Like I'm
That's sick.
It's super fun. And like I started like a couple weeks ago. Like they haven't posted any of my stuff yet, but like I'm just kind of helping like create a plan for them and like make content and help get the name out there for EFY. Mm-hmm. And we're like working right now with ambassadors, so like kids that are attending the camps. They're like coming with ideas like what they want to be making and how to like help promote EFY and stuff like that. This is a long story. Anyway, I met with them through Zoom this last week, and they all just kind of shared ideas, and it was just like so fun because like they were also passionate about the ideas that they had in EFY and like helping people like understand what it is and attend and have the same experiences. And I feel like in creating content, you know, regardless of what type of content it is, that passion, you can feel it in content. Like whether the people making it are excited about the idea, you know, are really putting their heart and soul into it, or if they're just like making stuff to make stuff because it's their job or whatever it is.
Yes, 1,000,000%. I am so big on that. I even like when I set up my business, something that I do that's different than a lot of other videographers, especially like wedding filmmakers that I know, is I don't have packages. a lot of which this is not like, it's not a bad thing. I
Right.
100% get, sometimes I'm like, that would be great. And like a lot of people are like, so what are your packages? And I'm like, I don't have packages. I'm so sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. But it's because I get so freaking invested in your wedding. Like I want to be there for all of it. I get FOMO if I'm not there for all of it. And so like when I work for people, I think that I perform better. I think they like me more. Like the films are better. Everything is better when I am producing something that I am just like absolutely stoked about. Obviously, that's kind of like, it's not a like hot take. That just kind of like makes sense. But I don't like to offer packages because like I offer one price, and I'm like, this is my price. And like I'm there for everything. Like I'm there for your bridals. If you are having a family party, if you're having like anything that you have going on with this wedding, like I want to work with people who are excited about their event. Like I love working with people who are like stoked about their wedding, stoked about the film, stoked about like they're paying this money for it, and like they are excited about it. And I love working with people who are like that. And so I'm very much like, I get so invested. And so I really have like tried to set up a business model where I can get invested, where it's not like, can I pay like less so that you can just shoot these hours? Like I like to get fully invested in things. I am big on like, it sucks. It actually sucks if I'm not fully invested. It's not fun anymore.
Yeah. So for those, because I'm like somewhat aware of, the packages, what is like the difference of that model compared to yours? You're just saying like you commit to a project and that means you're just there for...
Yeah. So like packages, generally it's like the gold. A lot of times it's like gold, silver, bronze. Actually, I like really don't know a time where it's like every time it's that.
Okay.
Which like it really is a good business. Like I would probably make more money because I keep turning down jobs because people are like they want to, it's like the lesser package or just kind of tiered things where it's like they want to know how much it would be for just the wedding day. Okay. And like which is totally, once again, super chill. Like I totally get that. I like, if you don't want to, if you're not invested in like the type of wedding film that I produce, then like A-okay. But I really like to set up a model where I can be there for all of it. So instead of saying, okay, you can pay less and I just like won't be there for these events, I just have set up a model where I'm like, yeah, basically like you pay this, I am there for any event related to the wedding. And in addition to that, I do something that I feel like this name is super cheesy. I haven't come up with another name though, but I do something I call a storytelling session, which is like, I just want to like, once again, I feel very invested in the couples.
Yeah.
And I like making fun films that look different from each other. So I go on like a little date with all of them. And so I've gone dog walking with a couple. I've gone like rock climbing with a couple. I've gone, like just to special like places that are important to them. I went on a picnic with a couple, like all these different things, whatever you love or like a special place. And I do interviews of like them telling their story and kind of like setting time apart from the wedding day to be able to really tell their story. So it has that film feel. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I threw in. Like I priced my package and then I was like, I'm just throwing this in. I'm not like charging more for this. 'Cause I really believe in like, I do not like running a business. I don't like running a business at all. But I love what I do. And so if I'm going to be invested in the business part of this, like I've got to be doing work I'm stoked on.
Yeah.
And so I really tried to set up this model where instead of it being this like pick and choose based on how much you want to pay, like I want to work with people who are, you don't have to be invested as I am. I get really invested, but who are like excited about it as well and don't want to pick and choose either. 'Cause I don't want to have to compromise, and I don't want the people I work with to have to compromise. I just want to make a really fun wedding film with a great soundtrack.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So sorry.
No.
If you can't tell, I have a lot of thoughts on this subject.
So these storytelling sessions, does that content normally is that put into the video itself? Mm-hmm. Is that like a separate thing that you make?
It's put into the video. So a lot of times the storytelling session generally tends to be the like a lot of, if there's like speeches or things like that, I'll also include speeches and stuff in there. If there's any like funny moment, like people are mic'd up during the day of the wedding. Okay. But generally, the storytelling session is kind of like the background of the video, because it's them like, I'll just ask questions about how they met, about different moments, like reasons they love each other, all of those fun things. And so it just like gives me a really good like skeleton. That is not the right word. There's a word I'm thinking of, and skeleton's not the word.
Skeleton works though. Yeah, sure.
To the video, it gives me like like
framework,
a structure.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So that's so that like gives me something to work with and a way to tell their story. Just to make sure that, once again, like I think there's a different function between video and photo. Yeah. And if you're not using the audio, if you're not telling the story in that way, like photos are beautiful and they do a great job of storytelling, but if you're not using the audio and not telling the story, like if they're not telling the story, then like it's not going to be told in the video. So I really like to prioritize making sure that value, like if you're paying money, you should be getting value out of it. I'm once again a practical person. So like, yeah, basically I definitely try to make sure that that's in there. So there is that value of like actually having the story there.
Yeah, 100%. Just to like backtrack a tiny bit.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got carried away.
No, that was great. So you were kind of making these fun, stuff with friends, trips, sophomore year leading up to college. And then you said you kind of ran with it freshman year of university. What did that look like? Was that when you kind of started your business, or what were you doing in that time that is, running with videography?
Yeah, so I like didn't plan on that at all. It was just kind of a fun thing. And then I like say that, but then there was like one day I was literally like, I'm gonna buy a drone. And like I'm bad, like I do not like spending money. And it was literally like, you know how you're supposed to like sleep on things for a day before you do them, like before you spend like large amounts of money? I'm great at that, except for when it comes to video equipment, because I was literally just like looked it up and I like went on KSL and there was a drone and I was like, I'm gonna buy this drone. And so I bought the drone, and that was in like the fall, and I did some like fun stuff with that. Like I was like, oh, this just like really upped my video game a lot. And then in December, once again, like December Christmas, my mom, because I liked video, she like bought like $100 gimbal off of eBay, and gimbals are like a selfie stick basically that stabilizes video for all of my people who don't know the word gimbal. Yes. But
shout out
just all of a big selfie stick, honestly. And then so like that happened, and then on the way back, so I live in Kentucky, I'm from Kentucky, and we were driving back to Utah, and on the way driving back to Utah, I don't live in Kentucky, I did live in Kentucky, but we were driving the car out to Utah, and we were driving through Kansas City, and I just don't know, like my mom and I are the same about camera equipment apparently, because we were both looking up on KSL, and like when I was driving through Kansas City, I bought a camera. Like this wasn't even like planned before we started the road trip. We were like Louisville to Utah, like somewhere in the middle of like Louisville and Kansas City, the decision was made to buy a camera.
There you go.
So bought a different camera, still honestly like super it's like a Sony A600 or A6000. It's not a full frame, but it was like a tiny bit of an upgrade for me. So I did that, and then I took a class that semester that taught me, and it was just like an elective that I took that taught me Premiere and Avid. And so then I knew how to edit videos, and I worked at Chick-fil-A. Nice. I had 2 coworkers that were getting married, and I ended up like filming their weddings, and was like, low key, I'm not bad at this. and I really like this. And so that's kind of like I did those 2, and then like the delusional person I am, that was annoying. I don't cut that out. I feel like the word delusional is overused right now.
Okay.
but like the person I am, I just decided, I literally just like went and I emailed like 40 different people in Guatemala, because like, so my family when I was in 8th grade, context time, my family when I was in 8th grade, we went to Guatemala for like 3 months, and so I was like familiar with the area, and I was like, I want to go back there this summer, and I basically just like went back for 2 months, and I did way too much. I cried like every day, I kid you not. But I was living in like a home for women who were like who were finishing their education late and had been in like abused relationships. It was a really cool NGO, but I was living with them. Okay. And technically doing their social media. I did absolutely nothing for them. I just got free housing and food. And then I would shoot on the weekends, I would go to different hotels and restaurants, or I did like mostly restaurants in Antigua where I was staying. But I would shoot for different hotels and restaurants. And like I just spent like 2 months doing that. And like when I would go, like if I would go to like a different city, like they would pay for my transportation and stay in food, like room and board and stuff. And so I would like travel doing that. And then I would just like shoot videos for them. And then when I was in Antigua, I would just like charge them, honestly, like way too little, but it like paid for the trip. But so I did that, and then they came back, shot a couple more weddings, and then I left on my mission. And I was just out for a year or so. And I came back, started again.
That's crazy. So you were just like, what, like 18, 19? Were you living
18.
by yourself, but with the exception of the other?
Yeah, I was by myself.
What was that like? Like, what was like I guess that's a very broad question.
As previously mentioned, I cried every day.
But like, what was like?
That was when Sour by Olivia Rodrigo came out.
Oh, good.
I listened to that and I cried. Yeah.
But was there like a like major takeaway or like lesson learned from like just doing that full time, just videography stuff, living out on your own, like?
Oh, for sure. I mean, like I've done that since. Like I was in Mexico for a month last summer, and I just got back from 4 months on the road, and it has been so cool. I mean, it helps. Mission also really helped with this. Yeah. Did a lot of crying on my mission too, but it was really good. I just want to clarify. But like those things, I don't think I'm a strong person. I'm gonna be so real, but I am stronger now because. Like looking back when I was in that situation, like when I was in Guatemala living in this woman's home, I spoke no Spanish, like literally none. And I went there being like, I'm gonna learn Spanish. Did not learn like a word of Spanish. I like avoided people in the house, and I felt so guilty about it. Like I don't know what I expected from myself when I put myself in that situation where I don't speak Spanish. I'm living in a house full of people who don't speak Spanish. And I'm in Guatemala by myself, and I have like so many like I put so much responsibility on myself for shooting for all these people and like doing the social media for the women's home, and like there was like so much that I put on myself. I was like out there surviving. And I remember coming back, like, and I was like so upset at myself. That was honestly half the thing. I'm a big advocate of self-compassion. Because I truly sucked at it for a long time, and I didn't realize that I wasn't being self-compassionate, but I would like put myself in these like really hard situations, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, why are you struggling? Yeah. Like literally, like, please, like, why are you struggling? Like, just don't. Like, why are you sitting in your room watching a TV show when you should be like reading a book? And my brain was just like trying to survive out there. So I definitely learned that, like, I think it's really good to put yourself in situations like that where you're going to struggle. Mm-hmm. But like maybe just like expect the fact that you're going to struggle, you know? And then like time moves on and you do it again and again, and like then it's just not hard anymore eventually. It's always like, yeah, but there's always hard moments in life, but like you can handle it. Yeah. And that's such a good feeling.
That's sick. So, like, do you feel like the way that you approach, like, making stuff, taking on projects, like, is different now after those experiences?
Yes.
Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, like,
do you feel like you're better able to, like, manage heavy workloads, or have you, like, changed the way that you manage them? Or do you feel like you just, like, increase your ability to, like...
I think that... confidence is a big thing. Like first of all, not like I think it just increases in I can't talk. There are increases in knowledge and confidence, like in a big way. And also just being able to stay like just to chill your brain out. I feel like I'm way better at chilling my brain out now. Like I was shooting a wedding in Guatemala this January, and there was this moment where I'm like, it was like a 4-day event basically. And day 3, so there was like the welcome party, then there was a rehearsal dinner on Friday, and then on Saturday was the wedding, and then like the last day there was like a farewell party. And on the wedding day, it was like the bride was getting ready, and I went outside to get some like drone footage of the venue. Mm-hmm. And the venue was sort of near a like airport. I think it was near the Guatemala airport. I don't know. If you've ever used a drone, drones sometimes are like weird in airport zones, probably because you're not supposed to use them. But for some reason it like took the sensors out of my drone, and basically I ended up literally crashing my drone into the side of like the apartment complex next to us. And like I'm sitting there in Guatemala, like there's no way to ship a new drone to me. I have like 2 weddings left, and like the rest of the day, and like I have insurance on the drone. Mm-hmm. So like I have to pay like $100 and they'll send me a new one. It's not like that big of a deal. But wedding day is like so stressful. You're taking care of so much stuff. I'm in Guatemala. Like I don't, there's like so much stuff going on. And like I just crashed the drone into the side of the building. And then you have to like be chill because like the bride and groom, like they're stressed today. You don't like, you can't go up to them and be like, hey guys, like I actually just crashed my $800 drone. Like you don't want to dump that on them. And so you're like, have to go inside and be like, hey, like, just keep going. And so those kind of things, like I crashed a drone and I literally just like, I like called my mom for like 2 seconds and I was like, I just need to dump this on you really quick. I just crashed the drone. And like I just called her and I dumped that on her. And then I was like, okay, I gotta go, but I'll be fine. And then like there was definitely like a moment there where I was like reeling a little bit. But just things like that. I remember afterwards I was like, oh my gosh, that is something I could have never handled like 2 years ago. And it just feels really nice to be able to handle it even when you crash your $800 drone. I don't know if that's a trade-off I'm really wanting, actually. Anyways.
In retrospect. So how did this, you mentioned like the last Guatemala trip, you reached out to a bunch of people. Was it similar for this one, or were people from Guatemala like reaching out to you, or how did it kind of all come together?
Yeah, so I believe that study abroads are a scam. That's not true. But when it comes to like me, some programs are really good, but I really don't like spending money, and I'm also a control freak. So I'm always like, I look at the price of study abroad and I'm like, could I do better? So I was like, I'm just going to leave I'm going to like do school online. So I've been doing school online this semester. And I was like, I'm just going to go to Guatemala. Because I was like, even if I don't have any work, I can just go to I hate the winter. I literally hate the winter so much. I hate the winter. If I need to restate that one more time, I'm just going to. I hate the winter. And so I was like, I could just do school online and live in Central America and save money on housing and not be here for the winter. So I did that. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to be in Guatemala, I might as well I love Central America for weddings. I think it's the funnest place ever for weddings. I would love to live in Mexico City someday. I love it. And so I was like, but the thing with like a lot of people in their bios will be like, I'll travel anywhere with like their like with photography and stuff or video. And I was like, I don't think that people are actually going to believe that until like I have a portfolio that shows that. So basically I just reached out to like a bunch of people. Like I pitched to just like a ton of people that like were getting married down there. I contacted like venues or like things like that. And I was like, hey, this is how much I charge. Do you want me to shoot your wedding? And I was like, I'm down there already, so there won't be like kind of my pitch was that like I was like there won't be like extra charges because like travel fees because I'm down there.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, and I booked 3 weddings, and they were so fun. Oh my gosh, I like this. Oh, there's like trips like the first Guatemala trip that was like a struggle bus for me.
Yeah.
This past trip was just there was hard moments, but it was so good. It was so good.
That's so sick.
10 out of 10.
No, I think that's like super admirable to just be like, no, like this is what I want to do and I'm going to do it. Like, I feel like, I don't know, people have dreams, they have things that they want to do, but like to be able to put that into action is a whole nother thing. And something else that came to mind kind of while you were talking, I was listening to, I don't remember, I think it was just a reel of like some podcast someone else was talking, but it was like, you know, the most, how do I want to phrase this? How did he phrase it? But it was like, if I want to be hired to make a spec ad, I'm not going to go and pitch the idea. I'm going to make a spec ad so they can see like what type of content they're getting. So like if you want, just like what you're doing, like if I want to work in Central America, I'm going to go live in Central America and make content so they can know exactly what kind of work I'm going to be putting out. So I think that's super sick.
I also think like a lot of times people like don't do work for free sort of thing when you're a creative. I totally believe in that. But like you were saying, like you can, sometimes it comes down to like I either am going to be getting paid to like less for doing projects I'm not as excited about, or I'm going to show what I can do by doing things. I think when you do things for free, which I didn't do in Guatemala, but I've also like done things for free. Like I've done last fall, I didn't have a lot of like weddings booked, and I just kind of like reached out to a lot of couples and I was like, hey, would you want to do this concept? Actually, Alec Nelson from The Mission, I did a video of like him and his fiance. It was so fun. It was literally just because Noah Khan released a song and I was like, I want to do a video of this song so bad. Like I was like, my head, like once again when I listened to the song, I was like, I need to do a video for this song. And so everyone go stream Forever by Noah Khan. But I was like, that was one of the ones I did just because I was like, I am stoked about this, and I know that when I have, and they were awesome, they like totally let me have, like they were so good at just like going along with like whatever ideas I had and things like that. Like it was so fun to get to work on because I had complete creative control over that video. And I do think like it is really fun if you love what you do. Like you can do free things where you get to have total control over what you're doing, and that shows off your abilities in a way that like doing paid work just can't, because you just like you are having to deliver a product that they paid for. Yeah, it's really fun.
No, I definitely like am a big proponent of everyone having, and this is regardless of if you're a creative or not, I just think everyone should have like a side hustle, for lack of a better term, of just like something that you're like passionate about and like enjoy, that has the potential to eventually become something that is your main hustle.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of what the podcast is for me. Like, and this is, sorry, I have a bunch of thoughts coming into my head right now.
No, share your thoughts. I feel bad about how much I've been talking, even though I think I'm supposed to be.
Do you ever follow or watch any of the videos of Casey Neistat? Have you heard of him before?
No.
Okay, that's your homework.
I've heard that name. I know I've heard that name. And
this guy is like my idol.
Okay.
He like at the beginning, like the genesis of YouTube, he like started vlogging. He daily vlogged for over 800 days. Like that's an incredible feat.
That's so much editing.
It's so much. It's every day he's filming and editing and uploading a video that's like 8 to 10 minutes long.
I have a hard time writing my journal every day. I do write in my journal every day though.
And
anyways,
he is just one of the most like dedicated, hardworking, creative, fun, energetic, cool people I've like. He's such a huge inspiration for me. And this like past 2 weeks, I've just listened to like every podcast he's ever been on, just like trying to soak in all of his knowledge. But he was like, you should, like, if you're going to embark in doing something, you should be willing to do it for 10 years with no success. Like, you should be that passionate about it. And like, you should be that willing. Like, he always talks about like, he hates looking at YouTube Studio and like the views and the comments, and like he is someone that is purely driven off of just passion and like the love of the process and like storytelling. And why did I bring that up? What were we talking about before?
But I heard a quote this morning actually that was, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
Yeah.
And like I really do believe in that. I also think like you really, something that I've heard like a lot of things about this recently. There's this one analogy that I heard that's like this is actually I think in a video like filmmaker podcast that like they talk about like the crock pot method or something, that like build it up slow, like just kind of like letting things build slowly. And then also this one's kind of funny, but like I've heard people talk about that with like Sabrina Carpenter which like because she's blown up recently, but she
Yeah.
was like just low, like she just was like, it's crazy to see how well she handles being famous now, but it was because she was like low key famous for like a really long time. And I remember like when I was doing my weddings for Guatemala, like this winter, I still like, there's still so much growth. Like I'm really not that big of a business, but like last year there was just a lot of moments where I was like, why am I not booking more people? Like, why am I like, why can't I get the weddings I want? Why am I not booking people? Like all of this. And when I was doing the weddings in Guatemala, I was like, oh my gosh, like if I had been booking, like if I had done this when I first came back from my mission, I would have died. Like I could not. And even just thinking about like even this year, I've realized I'm like, I'm okay. Like I have a decent amount of bookings. I have as many weddings as I like want to do. But at like just a while ago, I would have been like, oh my gosh, why am I not booking more? Like why am I not, like why are things not happening? And now I can see so much more how I'm like, if things had started happening faster than they had, I would have died. I would have like literally combusted. I can't handle that kind of, I'm not that strong. I'm a strong person, but I'm not strong enough to run a business sometimes at a fast pace. And so I do think there's something in like building up slowly, like getting and doing what you love. Like you should be willing to put, if you love it, just do it. Like just put the work in, like just let it build up slowly, like, and then put the work in every day. Like the fact that he did vlogs every day, like putting the work in every day. But like I really do believe that things are going to come to you when you're ready to handle it, and it will be like the timing will be a blessing in the long term.
And what's the quote? It's like, I'm going to totally butcher this. It's like, luck is when opportunity meets preparation or something like that. Does that make sense?
I know what you're
I'm
talking
saying?
about. Yeah.
It's like the idea is there, but it's definitely did not come out as eloquently as I would have hoped.
That's okay.
But that.
Yeah. Amen.
Cool.
Period.
I literally can't remember why we started that tangent. I had another thought and I'm totally blanking on what it was.
Moment of silence for your other thought.
Okay, we'll give
Think
it.
hard.
No, it's gone. If it comes back, I'll say something. But Casey Neistat, work hard, do it for the right reasons. Because like you said, like success is like overnight success comes in 10. How did you say it? Overnight success.
Oh, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
But like, what is success? Like, I think that's something that we of all have to define for ourselves. And like, obviously with success comes like fame and, you know, stuff like that in certain situations. But like success, I also view it as like you're executing your passion and you're doing something that you love.
I like that you said that, like, you have to define success. Because I'm very much like a, if I'm happy, I'm successful kind of person. But I also think it's so valid if you're like, if I'm making tons of money, I'm as successful. Or that did not come out right. Like, if I'm making tons of money, then I'm successful kind of person. Like, I think that's okay too. And I think there's so much in this life that, like, you just got to come to peace with being on your own terms about things. And, like, I think it's so important to, like, define success for you, what success is on your terms, and then go for that. And, like, you'll just be so much happier.
Yes, I agree. So I guess follow-up question to that. What is success for you? What is kind of your goal with, what was it? I want to say it correctly. I don't know why I'm blanking. Documentary style wedding videography.
I really care about balance in my life. And I think that balance really involves me working hard. I really believe in, like, in order to work hard, I have to set myself up for success. So finding my balance for where I can work really hard, finding, like, the ways to, like, for example, doing projects I'm excited about, and finding people I'm excited about. Like, I think that will help set me up for success. I also really believe in pushing myself. I think that I think I'm successful if I am pushing myself and growing. And honestly, like, yeah, like, money's part of it. And I think that it's okay to, like, have those goals. I think I'm realistic about how much, like, I think I'm both realistic about how much I need to be making and, like, should be making, and then what it will take to get me there. And because I do think that money adds balance to your life.
Mm-hmm.
And it also just, like, I do like numbers in terms of motivating me. Like I said, I'm pretty practical, and I like having goals that I can actually hit.
Yeah.
So I like that money does that. But yeah, I think that success for me, I mean, I don't know. I'm answering this question. I haven't thought this out enough, actually. I take that back. I need to be more nuanced about things.
Okay.
I don't really know what success is for me. Take all of that with a grain of salt, and it's like somewhere around there. I do think being happy is part of success, but I don't think that you need to like have joy all the time to actually. Something that I learned on my mission that I really, really, really love, my favorite scripture is John 10:10, which is that Christ, this is not the actual scripture, but that Christ came so that we could have an abundant life. And that was something I really took to heart on my mission, because there was a lot of times I wasn't feeling joyful, and like everyone's like, choose joy, and I'm like, I'm trying. And I would be like so frustrated because like, it's your choice if you choose joy or not. And I'd be like, I'm really trying to choose joy. And there'd be so many days where I was like joyful, or I'd have happy moments. But I love that idea of abundance, because even in like the not joyful moments, like there's so many days like in life where it's like you get to the end of the day, and like even if there were sucky moments, you look back. That's part of the reason I love writing my journals, because I love looking back and being like even if there's hard moments, like those moments bring abundance to my life. And so my version of success is feeling like I'm living an abundant life. And I really like that word, that it's like just feels full. Like it just feels like I am filling up my life with things that matter to me. And that might be hard. Like it's just going to come in waves no matter what I do. I'd like to be happy. I'd like that to be success. But I think that abundance would be a better word for success for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I feel like just the nature of what you're doing helps with that, because you can look back after a year's work and be like, I created all of this, and I can like reminisce on like these fun moments I had with people, and like helping them share and remember their story. And I think like I also love videography. I'm trying to get into it, and
Amen.
I just think like you mentioned, it's super powerful. Like, and just being able to like go back and relive those moments is such a fulfilling thing.
And you're going to get so invested in people's lives. Like every time I see like any of my couples that I've shot for, I get so invested in their lives. Let me make sure that's on. Like on Instagram and stuff, whenever they post things, I'm just like, yes, I love you guys. Like I just am obsessed with them.
So here's a question that I've had for a little bit. I feel like, how do I phrase this exactly the right way? Like a lot of videographers, especially around here, do wedding videography. Do you feel like that's because of the nature of the market, or do you think people are genuinely passionate about wedding videography?
I think that's wedding video is just like, it is easier to get into as a freelance, because you're not having to you're not bidding, like companies aren't bidding for you. There's just less education that has to go into it. I think it's a lot easier to start as a small business.
Gotcha.
But I do think it's an easy thing to fall in love with. When I first got back from my mission, I shot for some concerts. I was thinking about going back into travel things and stuff like that. I didn't really want to be a wedding filmmaker. Like that wasn't really my plan. But as I kept going with it, I was like, I love it. Like I love the control that you have. I love that you get to be involved in the whole process. That's a big thing as well, is that you really have to niche down if you're in like shooting for companies or things like that, either in like audio or editing, or like especially when it gets bigger to the point of like movies.
Yeah.
You're like doing only part of the process, and I really like being involved in all of it. So, and I like the challenge of it too.
Yeah, and I think it's cool too, because you're doing wedding videography, but you're still incorporating those elements of travel and like attending their parties, which is kind of like a concert and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's still kind of those aspects that you get to be involved with.
Yeah, 100%.
Believe it or not, we're nearing the end of
Yeah.
the episode.
I was actually going to say that. I was like, when you said 45 minutes, I was like, we're going to fill 45 minutes. And then I was like, we're filling 45 minutes.
No, it flies every time. And eventually, I'm sure I'll get to the point where I'm doing a lot longer episodes. But just for my own sanity of editing, I try and keep them a little
No,
bit
when you said
shorter.
45 minutes, I was like, that's like my literal nightmare. It's like 45 minutes of
straight editing.
Audio.
It's not that bad.
Thoughts and prayers to you while editing this.
But what I like to do at the end of each episode is give the person being interviewed an opportunity to kind of just choose what note we end on. You know, whether that's something you came wanting to share, something we talked about that you didn't or weren't able to fully expound upon, or like something of that nature, kind of super open-ended. You get to choose how we end the episode.
I think that everyone should be kind to themselves. That's kind of, I feel like you hear that a lot, but I think everyone should just give themselves some grace, because, and I also think that you should start a business. I'm like talking to the camera now. Everyone should start a business, and then everyone should give themselves some grace. Or actually, you don't have to start a business. Just do whatever you want. Just do whatever you want, and then give yourself some grace with it. Give yourself some grace with everything in life. I don't think that anyone functions better when they're hating on themselves. I hated on myself for a really long time without realizing I did it. And I think it's a really good thing to be conscious of. Like, I feel like that's such a soft thing to say, to be like, be nice to yourself. But I just didn't realize I was being mean to myself for a long time, and how much it was holding me back to, like, just accept where you're at. I think it's such a big thing. Like, accept where you're at, roll with it. That's something I really have been learning this past year. I don't really know if that's the best way to end this podcast, but I am a big advocate for accepting where you're at, because if you don't meet yourself where you're at, you're not going to go anywhere. The end.
The end. Yeah. That's awesome.
And also, Chobani yogurt is the best yogurt.
Really?
Yep.
Chobani?
Advocate for that too.
I can't second that. But
are you serious?
Opinions are good.
Have you ever tried a Chobani flip?
I'm a Yoplait guy. Is that okay?
How do I turn the mic off?
Okay. Yeah, no, we're going to end there. Thank you so much, Katie Quinn, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much,
I've
Wilson
super
Seneca.
enjoyed
Did I pronounce your last name right?
Yes, you
Okay.
did. Great job. And yeah, good luck with, the rest of your business, with college, with everything. And let me know if I can ever help in any way.
Perfect. Sick.